Hey Scorpio, happy June 2017. This is Dark Dove Tarot. Hope everybody is doing fantastic. As you know, I always pre-shuffle, but I'm going to add a little more energy to the cards before we get started. I've changed my read up. It seems to have been to the liking of most, so hopefully you feel that way as well. I'm no longer doing singles and relationships. I'm focusing mainly on singles and anybody who's possibly wondering what their ex is up to or whether they're going to reconcile. Those are the people who reach out to me for private reads, who email me, who have questions, etc. So obviously, I want to make sure that I'm doing reads that seem to, keep people happy. With that being said, as everybody always tells you, this is a general read. So check your sun, moon, and rising. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. I always move fast, as you know. I have a lot to say, and I want to get it out without taking up too much of your time. Again, any likes, subscribes, comments, etc. are appreciated. If you want a private read or donation, information is in the description. All right, so Scorpio, let's get started for June 2017. All right, so you always have your first card coming into the month. This is your current position or where you are. Starting off June, and you have the Page of Coins, which actually is a really good card. For anybody who's single, this tells me that you're being responsibility. You have aspirations. You want to meet somebody. You want to, water the seedling and grow, watch it grow. So basically, you're wanting to grow a relationship, start something new, something fresh. And that's excellent. But you're being pragmatic about it. You're thinking it through. You're not rushing into anything. You're not just hoping, for the best. You're actually doing things to possibly push yourself in the right direction, or, you're watering it. So you're dating, you're, making sure you're dating the right people. Not to say that you're not going to meet a few one-offs that are a little crazy or that you're not going to mesh with. But you're taking care to read the signs, pay attention to what's going on. Again, you're aspiring for something different, something greater than you've had before. And you're, being responsible too. So you're kind of keeping a life balance. You're not letting work interfere with dating, but you're definitely not letting dating interfere with work. You're not burning the candle on both ends. So very positive place to be, very stable place to be. Again, just looking for some growth in your romantic life. And some of you may just be looking for dates. You don't want anything serious, but you want to start somewhere, right? Anybody looking to reconcile, this, tells me one of two things. It either means that you're looking to start anew and fresh on your own by yourself, or you are in communications with your ex, or possibly are going to be communicating with your ex. Maybe you took some time off and you're going to start, aspiring for a better relationship. So Page is definitely a good place to be coming into the month. Again, it's all about growth. There's opportunity, new seeds to be planted, so to speak. The next card you have is always any challenges or anything that helps or hinders your present situation coming into June. And you have the Four of Swords. So the Four of Swords tells me that some of you, maybe last month or the month before, were getting a little anxious, maybe had some drama dating, maybe had some chaos in your work life. Whatever it is, you needed this balance. And this is you feeling like, I'm exhausted. This is pure exhaustion. This is, like just needing rest and recuperation. So for singles, that definitely tells me that you've had some chaos. Maybe dating has been, crazy for you and you took some time off and now you're kind of coming back into it and you feel, you want and yearn to have somebody special in your life, but you can't do it the way you were doing it before. Like literally your mind is going, okay, I'm exhausted from all of that. So we're starting fresh, coming into the month, and I'm going to take care of, myself and make sure I'm getting enough rest and I'm not getting wrapped up into anybody's drama and I'm meeting the right people. Maybe some of you have decided to stop online dating or and start, a different avenue because maybe it's just been too chaotic altogether. Maybe some of you decided to come into this month not dating anybody and you're looking for a fresh start, and that's what you're working on. Anybody looking to reconcile, this tells me that you're also exhausted. Maybe you've been thinking about this other person too much. Maybe you've been almost obsessing about it. Maybe your main focus has been on that person, and you're coming into the month saying, you know what, I can do this, with or without you. And if we get together, great, we'll go from there. But if not, I'm willing to, go at it alone, because it's too exhausting trying to figure out what the heck you want. Because I feel like some of you have played up to trying to be the person the other person wants, and it seems like no matter what you do, you feel like you're just not good enough, or they're just not treating you that way. So definitely, if you need rest, if your mind has been scrambled, take the time, because you're not going to have a good, healthy relationship, whether you're reconciling or whether you're single, if you're overexerted. The next card you have is always your distant past, and you have the Ten of Swords. So the distant past, just to let everybody know, I don't really precursor this, but I'm going to this month because I think a lot of people, not just in my reads, but I've seen it in other situations where you kind of wonder, well, why do you bring that kind of stuff up? Why is the past important? So every month when I pull the past card, this is telling you that something from your past may be interfering with your entire month. So this ugly hand may be trying to crush you, and it could be internal, it could be traits you're bringing in, it could be picking a partner similar to somebody who was not good for you. And sometimes I pull a really positive card in that position, and it just tells me that maybe you're nostalgic or missing somebody, from your past. This card definitely tells me tragic endings, loss. This is grief. So I always say in every read, don't let the ugly hand crush you whenever I pull the Ten of Swords in any position, because the Ten of Swords is probably one of the most tragic cards to get in a spread. Luckily, this is your past, so the distant past over the past, few years, could even be, a decade. But this tells me, for both singles and anybody who's pondering their ex, that, and I don't believe, usually when I pull this, I don't think that this is your ex, like the one that you've been dealing with now, but it could be. But usually this means a long time ago. And some of you may be going, well, guess what? We separated after 10 years. So yes, there are going to be a few of you, but for the majority of you, this is a long time ago. Whenever I see this card, it also tells me that there might have been family tragedies, like a death or abuse, physical or sexual or emotional abuse, and that has affected every relationship that's come forward. Maybe you accept abuse in relationships, because this card is really, it's suffering. And it could be illness. It could be that maybe somebody that you're with died, a partner died, a child died. Again, this is complete tragedy. The 10 is the utmost grief, depression, anxiety, pretty much any, ugly monster you could throw in your past. This represents that. But the reason I always say don't let it crush you is don't let that come back in to what is positive and something that you're trying to grow for yourself. Because it's so easy, right, to worry about, well, I'll never find a relationship because mine have been hell, or my past has been, crappy. And I think the 10 always reminds me that, that means there may be skeletons in your closet that were worse than you thought, and you really need to clear them out. Or coming up in the past position like that, maybe you're meeting people, maybe you had been meeting people, and that's why you're coming in kind of cool and calm and you need the rest. Maybe you were meeting people who were exactly like this past person, or were abusive, or had the traits of somebody who treated you, terribly. And so you're kind of being reminded this month to watch out for that. The next card you have is going to be your most recent past, and that's usually over the past few weeks, and you have the Lovers. So that's an excellent card to have for your past few weeks, because that tells me that some of you, maybe you're resting and recuperating and you're starting kind of fresh and watering the seed because you have met somebody. Or maybe you've met one or two people and you think that one of those people could possibly be the one. By this card, I would think that this person could be the one. And maybe you don't know that yet. Maybe it's going to creep up on you, because this is the past few weeks. So it's telling me that at some point you either met, or, you know, maybe your twin flame is like readily available, and that's going to kind of match it up for you, especially if you're single. This is all about love, obviously, and then pairing and duality. So this is a match. There's other cards in the deck that represent love as well, but this is, you know, as you can see, they're intertwined. They may be different, they may have different personalities, but it's definitely a good card. The Lovers also represents Gemini, so maybe some of you are dealing with a Gemini. But as you can see, this is very positive. So the past few weeks, singles, you know, you've either met somebody great, you're going to meet somebody great, you've found a few people. I can't help thinking that this is screaming rest and relaxation, because you kind of be like, whoa, I've met somebody and they're pretty spectacular. Or I've met a few people and I think one of these people could be somebody I could build something with long term. If you're looking to reconcile, that definitely would insinuate to me that your, you know, ex has possibly contacted you, you've contacted them, or maybe you start off slow, maybe it's a text or an email, but that would mean your hearts are in the right place. That also tells me that you're both kind of on the same page as far as looking at reconciliation. It's all about values too. So maybe even if you do decide to start anew and you're not going to get back with your ex, you still value that person. You're going to be friends with them, or you take a lot from them. But the Lovers card screams loudly of just that, of love. And but this card tells me too that if you do start anew, you're not going to have a hard time finding love. Maybe one of the reasons you're not concentrating on your ex, if you're not, but you are kind of wondering what they're up to, maybe you've met somebody and you're wondering if it's the right move. Well, if you met somebody and they're sparking your interest enough to take your mind off of somebody that you truly loved and thought that you were meant to be with, maybe it's time for a change. But for the majority of you, whether you're single or coupled, this definitely says love is here. And if you haven't found it or haven't seen it, it's all yours for the taking pretty quick. The next card you have is going to be in time, future possibilities. So this is over the next few weeks and few months. So this doesn't just pertain to June. And you have Justice. So Justice is about cause and effect. So this is the next few months. So that tells me that whatever you're doing now, especially since you're sparking the Lover card here for the past few weeks, this tells me that whatever you're doing now this month and over the next few months is going to have great cause and effect on where you go in a relationship, who you meet. The choices you make are going to deeply affect how your relationships are going to, play out. The people you pick, how they're going to play out. If you're avoiding this type of situation, obviously it's kind of a risk reward. This is also saying, be moral in your choices. If you're not ready to settle down with somebody, don't play anybody, because in the end, when you are, it's going to come back, right? Come back to bite you in the butt. So whatever you put out there, you get back tenfold. I say that in almost every read for every sign. You put out what you're going to get back. So just be careful with that, because Justice is all about, being moral, being the bigger person. So if you know you don't want to be with somebody, but you're hurt or you're worried about hurting their feelings, don't. I've been saying a lot in my reads for everybody this month and last month. Everybody seems to settle because they're too worried about hurting somebody else's feelings, and I get that, and that's really nice. But it gets ugly in the end if you drag something out that you're not interested in. And in the end, you're going to feel healthier if you're in something that is truly good for you and your partner. The Justice card is also about absolutes too. So that tells me if you do find somebody, if you have met the Lover, this could be an absolute. It could be a marriage. It could be a move-in potential. It could be something that builds up pretty fast. We'll see what the rest of the read says, but for having Justice for your future, for singles, this is amazing. Also, for anybody looking to reconcile, it kind of says the same thing. Whatever choices you make now, if you decide you want to give that reconciliation a chance, it's kind of like this is your final chance to make it happen. So bring to the table what you want. If you're not interested in making it happen, it doesn't look like in 6 months from now, if you change your mind, you're going to have that possibility. This is definitely something that's saying whatever you do now will greatly affect what you do going forward. And again, that Lover's card is telling me this is all about whatever you choose, whatever pathway you go. But you'll see little signs, right? if you start paying attention, you'll notice like numbers or colors, or you'll hear songs or things that resonate with which direction you should go. If you're hearing songs that you and your ex loved all the time and you're seeing their model of car and the same color everywhere, maybe that's a sign. I always like to listen to instincts and things around me, because sometimes I think I get a little push in the direction of maybe the best choice for me at the time. Ultimately, the decision is up to you, but it never hurts to look around and see what's going on and really pay attention and listen, right? The next card you have is going to be your immediate future, so over the next few weeks. And you have the Seven of Cups. So very interesting, Scorpio, because this card is about temptation. So be careful, because it's also about choices and options. So I think that feeds very well into your justice for the next few months. And the Lovers. Don't be tempted into like a lustful relationship if you want something serious. If you want something serious, treat it as though you want something serious. Again, you get what you give. So if you put it out there that you're just wanting sex or a physical relationship, you're going to find somebody that's only capable of that. Or you're going to find somebody who latches onto you, and you're going to have to figure out, a nice way to tell them no, and that doesn't help everybody all the way around. If you want something special and you want a good relationship, that's the vibe, and that's how you're going to have to treat people, and that's what you're going to have to ask the universe for and ask when you're going on dates. You're going to have to present yourself in that manner, because again, this reads perfectly into the next few months. These are all about options and choices, but that Justice card is saying choose wisely, and use your heart. That's what the Lovers is saying. Use your heart. Use your mind, but use your heart too. Again, don't settle for something that is not going to be good for you. Singles, this is like your month right now. The way the read is going, this is definitely rest, relax, have fun. The Seven is about wishful thinking. It's about dreaming and hoping that things come true, but that's also a warning too. Don't wish for something over the top, or wish for something you don't really want, because sometimes you get it and then you're surprised by how it really turns out. For anybody looking to reconcile, it's the same thing. Not the same thing, but similar. If you are wishing and hopeful about something, but you've seen what you've discussed with your partner, or maybe there's no changes on your end or their end, or you can just tell it's not going to work, don't go off of wishful thinking. Don't go, well, I hope it works, because you can, wish in one hand and the rest of the saying, and see which one fills up first. And obviously wishes are good to have, but it's not something you can live life on, right? This is also for anybody looking to reconcile, choices, temptation, options. I think this is kind of heeding a warning that if you're serious about getting back together with your ex, don't go sleeping around, or don't spread rumors about your ex. And I'm not saying that you would. Scorpios are pretty mindful of that. They can be, very genuine and good-hearted people, but just be careful, because again, whatever temptations you have or whatever choices you make now are going to influence the possibility of you getting back together with your ex, if that's really what you want. The next card you have is always going to be future external factors. So anything that kind of affects your outcome, or not necessarily your outcome, but the entire month externally. So things that are a little more tangible. And you have the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is about spirituality. So maybe if you're religious, maybe you've been praying to God a lot, or whoever your God is, or whoever you pray to. This is also about holiness and dreaming. So and subconscious. So I get the feeling that some of you may be having some pretty interesting dreams about somebody in your life, somebody you've met, possibilities, or maybe subconsciously you've had really good dreams, and maybe some of you have had horrific dreams, and it's kind of playing into your every day-to-day life. This tells me that some of you are seeing the big picture and dreaming, and maybe you're starting to reflect that in yourself, and so it's drawing attention. But maybe you just have to be careful about the attention it's drawing, because maybe you're so hopeful in finding love, especially if you're single. You're so hopeful that it's out there, and it's there, and you have this faith, right? But you have to be practical about it, because it can't say it enough. That Justice card and that Seven of Cups, you know, scream, be careful about what choices you're making this month, because it's going to affect your overall outcome, which is interesting because that's the next thing I was going to say. Don't let your head get in the clouds too much, because you still have to take care of responsibilities, which tells me, work, don't be too dreamy, come down a little bit to reality. Make sure you're taking care of other responsibilities this month, because I have a feeling that's going to fall into these two cards too. You let something slip and it's going to affect the next few months. So just tight ship, have fun, relax, and do be tempted. This is temptation, but do be tempted, go ahead and have that temptation of falling in love and feeling good about it. Just make sure the temptation is worth the risk in the end, right? The next card you have is going to be internal factors, future. So anything you might be feeling throughout June, any ups or downs, could be attributed to this. And you have the Six of Coins. So the Six of Coins is interesting too, because that's about being content and wanting to feel content. So throughout the month, I feel like you're going to feel a contentment with whoever this partner is that you've met or is coming in. Again, you're going to feel that rest and relaxation, but this is going to be, going throughout the month of June. This is also about generosity or charity. So maybe some of you will be doing some charity work. You're going to feel generous, especially if you're single. You're going to want to, do the flowery love stuff and, or maybe romance and, wine and dine. So nothing wrong with that. Just again, be wary of temptation. That keeps screaming in my head for some reason. So for some of you, maybe you've already seen it. Maybe you found somebody that you really think would be a good match for you, but then you found somebody who's really fun, really sexy, really attractive, and your brain's kind of going, ooh, this could be fun. And then your brain's also going, but wait, in the long run, maybe I'm attracted to this other person too, and, there's somebody who would be a good fit for me. So anyways, and I'm not saying that they can be sexy and whatever too, but maybe they're not giving off that lustful vibe, if that makes sense. For anybody looking to reconcile, the Six of Coins is same thing. It's almost feeling generous. So maybe if you are looking to reconcile, you're going to be a little more generous with your feelings and a little more open to listening and understanding. Because the High Priestess, for anybody who's thinking about reconciling, is same thing. You're going to feel like a holiness. And so you might feel like, I got to give them, the benefit of the doubt. And I'm really going to open my heart to them. And I'm going to trust in my faith in our past relationship. And the Six is saying, go ahead and do that. But don't be charitable like, oh, you poor thing. I'm sorry you're hurt. You don't want to take on that type of attitude too. Just be, real and be generous in your feelings. If you really do care about them, don't be afraid to show them. And if they don't know what to do with it, or they don't, reciprocate, oh well, because whatever this is that you're growing, you're going to be okay anyways, right? So this is also, for anybody looking to reconcile, this is about being content too. So that tells me that really the Lover's card is what's playing it for me, and the Justice and Seven of Cups, that if you're looking to reconcile, the potential is there. Again, it comes down to whatever you guys do this month is going to affect greatly the next few months. The last two cards you have are going to be your hopes or fears for the outcome of June, and pretty much, the outcome of your love life as of now. And you have the Magician in that spot. Sorry. And the outcome is the Six of Cups. So the Magician is a great card because that's all about your abilities, your capabilities. So for anybody who's single, this is kind of like you are the magician. You have control, so you can make things happen. You kind of feel like, you can rule the world, and not in a conceited way, in a, I've got this. I know what I want. I'm going for it. And if I work hard at it and I make the right choices, I can make things happen. You're also connecting, because the Magician is all about making connections, which tells me a special connection is coming if you haven't already met them, or you're going to make that connection. And again, I hope it's the right choice. I hope that you have really taken time to figure out what's going to be best for you and what you really want. But the Magician says that basically pick what's best for you, because you don't have to do anything. If you don't find anybody this month, then you just don't find anybody this month. If you find people and they're not right for you, then you just don't. I think the majority of you will find one person, have already met them, or will be matching up with them soon. Because this is also versatility. So that tells me that if one option that you thought would work doesn't work, don't start going into like, this is never going to work and I'm doomed. Keep your head up, because that just means somebody else is around the corner waiting. Again, magician is all about, making things happen. You have the ability to really progress however you'd like, especially relationship wise. For anybody looking to reconcile, it's the same thing. You have control of the situation. If you really want to reconcile and make things right, you'll do what it takes to make it happen. And you're going to be generous about it and feel, plentiful about it. You're also going to be connecting, because that is one of the main, meanings behind the magician is connections. And that means you have the ability to connect, but that's if you want to. So this is all plays down on what you want, Scorpio, out of the relationship. You can have it with the magician. And that's how you're feeling. That's your hope, is that you will get what you want. You will find what you want. And the magician's saying you can have it if you really put the time and effort into it. The outcome card, the Six of Cups, is definitely a nice outcome. This is nostalgia. So this is, you're revisiting something that made you feel good. You're revisiting a relationship that was very positive. Not physically revisiting, but remembering things. You're being nostalgic about your past, and some of this could just be you're feeling kind of like a child, like innocence, having fun, footloose and fancy free. Maybe it's summer, so you're going to be running around without shoes on in the grass and the sand. This is childhood memories, but something sparking back to life. So maybe this person you've met has brought out a whole new childlike energy in you. Maybe you're 70 and feeling like energized like you've never felt before. Not that you can't be 70 and energized, but you get what I mean. So this is definitely bringing out, whoever this is that's coming in is going to bring out a feeling in you of something positive. It doesn't even have to be just childlike. It could just be you feel childlike. You have those butterflies in your stomach. You remember your first kiss. You're feeling cheeky. You get, you blush around this person. So definitely a good outcome for the month. And for anybody looking to reconcile, it's the same thing. Maybe you're revisiting with your ex and you're remembering the good times and you're feeling very nostalgic about that. So Scorpio, I have to say, this is an excellent read. I love this road right here. I think the potential is just amazing. And you're going to have really just the ability to make this relationship a fantastic one. An unbelievable outcome for you. So I hope everybody does fantastic. Can't wait to see how it plays out. I'll talk to you in July.